On today's show, we have a review of the Obiwan Kenobi miniseries, the first 2 episodes that have been out. We have a couple of trips coming up, and we're going to have a couple of news stories to talk about. That's today on Traveling with the Mouse. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 359 of Traveling with the Mouse. We're inching ever so closer to having one episode for every day of the year.
Yeah, 360. Yeah.
5. I said inching closer, but yeah, there's only 360 days in a year, folks.
Yeah. No, 360 just means you can do a complete
Circle.
Yeah.
Of podcasts. You can turn around while you're listening to our episode.
Yeah. Well, 365 means you just have to start at episode 1 and listen once a day for the next year. But then what do you do for the rest of the new episodes? How do you...
Yeah.
You would have had to start a long time ago. We didn't intro each other, by the way. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we just started talking. For those of you that don't know who we are, I said I'm hosting this week. My name is John, and I am joined by my co-host this week. Just one co-host this week, and his name is Adam.
Boo, what's up, everybody? Bright Suns.
Very anticlimactic this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're both on vacation as we're releasing this, basically.
Basically?
Basically. We're both on vacation, kind of.
By release date?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true in a way. I mean, it'll be right on it. Well, so we pretty much will be, yeah. So
close enough.
That's one of the things we're going to discuss today is what we're doing.
Our upcoming trips.
But first, I think we should probably look at what's going on in the world of Disney somewhat.
Okay. I just got some really good news about my trip. But
I'm guessing you're approved?
Yes.
Okay. For those of you that don't know, why don't you tell? Since you brought that up.
The cruise requirements right now have to upload my vaccine card. And over a year ago at this point, is when I got my vaccines. And haven't really had to use the vaccine card for travel until now. And didn't realize that the wonderful tech at Walgreens, where I got my vaccines, on my second vaccine of Pfizer, she put the wrong date on the card and didn't notice. I didn't even notice it until I uploaded it to the Safe Passage website for the Disney Cruise Line thing. And my vaccine date for the second dose was April 8th. But the person at Walgreens wrote March 8th. Which was before I got my first shot, which was March 16th. So they rejected my initial upload of my vaccine card because the dates did not match the dates that I put as my vaccine dates. And so I had to upload it after correcting my vaccine card. And it took them twice as long to approve this one. So... I just pictured somebody going okay, he clearly just wrote a 4 over the 3. Are we going to accept this guy? Or,
I'll allow it.
Right. So, but it's I definitely got... And this time I uploaded my booster card, even though they didn't want that one. I uploaded the booster as well, which, again, probably because I got the vaccine so early, the person didn't know what they were doing when they filled out my card, and so it's filled out all janky or whatever. So just make sure you have your dates right on your vaccine card.
Yes.
Long story short.
Yeah, make sure you actually look at your vaccine card prior to trying to use it to go on, say, a cruise.
Right. But literally seconds ago, I got approved as we're recording this, and I've been waiting. I've been waiting for 15 hours since I re-uploaded it. So...
Well, they just now got back around to you at this hour.
I mean, they were super fast the first time to reject my mine. They were
pretty easy.
Within a couple hours, it was you're rejected.
You're why?
Yeah, because I was what? And then they put a note on there that was like, your dates don't match your what you put as your vaccine dates. And then I noticed, I was like, what? She wrote March 8th on there when I got my first dose on March 16th. So how could I have gone back in time to get my second dose?
It's a common mistake, but again, because I mean, you didn't catch it either.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. I never even noticed it. Yeah. Until now. So, anywho, just double check your vaccine card before you upload it. I guess that's the moral of the story.
The moral of the story, especially if you're going somewhere like a Disney cruise, you don't want to miss out on that, especially your first one.
Right. My first
one. Over something like that.
Well, we're still, the next hurdle we have, though, is we all have to test negative. I almost said positive. We have to test negative.
Test positive. This is a COVID cruise.
Yes.
We're only taking positive.
Right. Well, they put them all on one. Anyway. No, I have to test negative, but the funny thing is this website says after June 7th, which is a week from today, or a week from the recording of this, you don't have to test anymore if you're vaccinated. So they don't have to do the testing before you at the port anymore.
So why do the testing at all?
Right now, you mean?
I mean, after that point, why do the testing at all? You're just, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to take the test. Well, you could still have it technically and be vaccinated. So what's the point of? I mean, why not test? Why test anyone?
That's a good point. I don't know why they're getting away with that. But I guess if you have somebody under 5, like in my case, I have a 4-year-old who is not eligible for a vaccine yet, so he has the test before the cruise, and he has the test again at the port. So,
right.
I feel bad for his nose.
Anytime you get off somewhere.
Right. Yeah, I feel bad for his little nose.
You're only going to get off once, though, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, just the Castaway.
Okay.
The weather report for Castaway this weekend is rain, so I don't know what that's going to mean.
I've been there when it rained before.
Is it kind of like a passing Florida shower kind of thing, or is it
kind of? Well, I mean, it can be. I mean, that's the case. It was for me. It was just kind of. I felt like a couple of times it's rained at some point.
Oh, okay.
But maybe that'll change.
So there's part of my cruise preview.
Yeah, starting already. So anything big happened this past week?
I don't know. Only the biggest premiere in Disney Plus history. Is that what you're alluding to?
Oh, well, that's not really what I was alluding to, but I mean,
Guardians.
The biggest premiere.
That's what they said. Yeah, the most watched premiere of any show on Disney Plus.
Was it really?
That's what I've heard.
I guess I did not see that part.
Oh, Ewan McGregor made that announcement.
Oh, on what, his Twitter account?
Instagram, Twitter, one of those.
Okay. Well, I ended up watching it. I actually forgot about it on Friday, so I ended up watching it. I think it was probably Sunday before I watched it. It might have been. I might have watched it late Saturday. I was trying to remember.
I watched the first episode on Friday when it came out, and then I watched them again. I watched the first episode again, and then the second one on Saturday night.
Gotcha. So overall, I mean, you liked it, obviously.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mentioned to you that I thought the first episode started a little slow. I just thought it was and not as exciting.
Well, the first episode, the first 5 minutes was basically every Anakin and Obiwan scene from the prequels. But
I have to say, that was a great recap. That actually made the prequels look good. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, the prequels are pretty good overall.
Yeah, especially when they're only 5 minutes long.
Mm-hmm. Especially the Attack of the Clones stuff, because that one's definitely the weakest of the three. But yeah, it was good. That was great setup. It kind of got you excited about what it could be. Here's the thing too. This is, I guess we should say these are kind of spoilery things, right? Are we going to get into little spoilers?
If you haven't watched it, where have you been? Why haven't you?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? No.
Right. But if you haven't, we're going to do some spoilers. One of the things I was going to mention was the first episode. One of the kind of disappointments was when they showed the recap of the prequels, they mentioned Yoda talking to Obi-Wan saying, Qui-Gon, we'll show you how to communicate with him. And then in the episode, he kind of calls out to Qui-Gon, but nothing ever happens. And it's like, well, if you're going to tease that and you're not going to deliver on it, why even bring it up?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. But maybe they will at some point, but I don't know.
Yeah, they're just not doing it yet.
Right.
Probably what it is. Didn't want to bust that out in the first couple episodes.
It just felt weak to like tease that twice in the same episode and then they don't deliver on it. It's like, okay, whatever. Because they could have totally done a Qui-Gon scene in that first episode and it would have made that first episode way better for me.
Yeah.
I mean, a Liam Neeson cameo, even if it's for like 2 seconds, it would have been...
Even if it's just his voice?
Yeah, or something, right.
It's like he reaches out to Qui-Gon, and then Qui-Gon says, I just want you to know, I will find you.
Right, exactly. You must have a particular set of skills, Obi-Wan.
Yes. Yes. I have a particular set of skills.
But I'll say Ewan McGregor's fantastic. I thought, there's more news about Moses Ingram, is the third sister character that I thought she was really cool, actually. But, of course, she's getting, like, racist comments online from Star Wars fans, which seems to happen to every person of color on the...
comments?
She put this out on her Instagram today about how she's getting all this backlash from Star Wars folks. Just like, what's her name? Rose from Last Jedi did. She got, like, bullied online. Right? Remember?
But, like, what are they saying? I mean...
I don't know. I didn't watch the whole video, but obviously racist things towards her as, as a person.
But, I mean, why? I mean...
Because people are stupid. That's the thing. But this is a thing with Star Wars for some reason. All these characters have gotten all this backlash. It goes all the way back to, like, what's his name? Jake Lloyd was ridiculed for so much so that... Did he...
Quit acting? No.
Quit acting and all this? Did he, like...
Attempt suicide? What?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Did something like that happen to Jake Lloyd?
I think
but, of course, Ahmed Best, too.
He's alive, I think.
Is Jar Jar. Of course, Jar Jar, the character. But Ahmed Best, like, he's just the actor. Like, leave the guy alone.
Yeah.
And...
This is one of the reasons why especially if I was famous, I wouldn't put too much stock in Twitter, for one thing. That's just me. I mean, I guess I would have one if I was famous because I guess that's what you do. But just know there's going to be... I don't even know how often that the people that say these things are even real in the first place. Right. That's one thing. I wonder if Elon's really going to... If all this goes through, I wonder if he's really going to find out how many bots there truly are.
Yeah. Well, okay. I don't even want to go there. But, yeah, either way, this stuff's uncalled for Star Wars. Like, come on, people. Get a life. And it's a fake story about space. Like, come on. Enjoy the story. I thought the story was great. I thought her character was great. Yeah. I liked what's the guy who played the, like, sort of...
The android? Kind of.
Why am I blanking on it? But he played the... sort of fake Jedi in that town, like he was like the...
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I can't even remember his character's names now, truthfully.
I know. I've only watched episode 2 once, so...
The character is Haja?
Yeah.
I
thought his character was really good, actually. I thought it was a cool, like, kind of funny character that brought some humor into the story, which is kind of a dark story, just sort of. So it
What's
brought
a dark
some
story?
humor to it. The Obi-Wan series. I mean, it's in a dark time, I should say.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the girl who played Leia, the young Leia, I thought she was fantastic, too. What did you think of her?
Oh, yeah. That was good, yeah.
Yeah, she was really good. There was one, I will say, the chase scene in the woods, though, seemed really, like, slow-paced. Like, you can't catch a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And she's not even running that fast.
I know, right? I'm like, okay, if this was, like, a real chase scene, that girl had been caught in, like, 2 seconds.
Right. And she kept, like going, like, through a broken, like, fallen tree branch, and they can't catch her. Like,
yeah, I know.
Really?
Right.
Like, you can't just reach over or, like, go around or jump over it. Like, okay.
But they took care of that royal guard real fast.
Right. And even Obi-Wan couldn't catch her later in that episode.
Yeah, it was a little... Some of it was a little far-fetched in that sense, but yeah. I'm going to rewind for just a second here. At the very beginning, when they did that little scene when Order 66 was first done, for whatever reason, they have... I don't even know if that's supposed to be a character that I know, but I don't, obviously, with the younglings.
Yeah.
like, it's weird how Jedi, apparently from that era, are selectively good against stormtroopers.
Right.
Like, some of them get killed almost immediately, obviously.
Yeah.
And then some of them can actually put up a fight before they get struck down by a stormtrooper. 2 of them at that.
Right.
So,
well, maybe that makes it more realistic.
yeah, I don't know. But the younglings, obviously, they start taking off. Obviously, they didn't show any further than that. I'm kind of glad they didn't. But
Right.
yeah, I don't get what the purpose of that scene was, though. Do you?
Well, what I was thinking was one of those younglings supposed to be the young adult person that was at that cantina bar, the Jedi that found Obiwan out in the desert, or whatever.
Maybe, and
was
also,
he one of the younglings?
Possibly. Also, is it possible that Reva, maybe she was one of them? I mean, obviously she knows about the Force. I mean, I don't know her backstory.
Right, because she was a Jedi. I think that's what they were implying, was that she was a Jedi that turned to the dark side.
Either that or she learned it from Vader herself, so.
Yeah. We'll find out. I'm very interested in her character arc. I think that's actually a cool character that they've brought in, because it's a dark side character that she like does her own thing, but you never really know, like, could she turn to the good side at some point, or who knows what's going to happen.
Well, of course. Okay, I was just looking at the description of Nari, which is the one who's Jedi hiding on Tatooine,
yeah.
who escaped
Mm-hmm.
Order 66 as a youngling, he says. So maybe that was it.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, is they showed that and then they showed him later.
But
yeah. I find it interesting that Hayden Christensen on IMDb is listed as being in all 6 episodes. Is that including the flashback thing?
Perhaps. When was so what flashback was he in episode 2?
Well, I guess he was at the end of episode 2 in the Bacta tank.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that counts.
Even though it was like for a half second.
So he's taking on the Boba Fett role for this series, apparently.
Right.
That's what we're going to see him doing most of the time.
He'll have like a couple of episodes and then the rest is... Yeah, when does the Mandalorian show up in this series?
Yeah. Something like that.
That'd be funny. This would be before he got his armor, so...
Yeah. Like I'm going to say we're already halfway there. So the first 3 episodes are about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the last 3 are about the Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, that's how it should go, right?
That's how it... I mean, how many episodes was it of Boba Fett? Wasn't it 6 or 7, something like that?
Yeah, I think
it was not many. It actually seemed like a lot, but when they released them once a week, I guess, it kind of can seem that way. I kind of like the idea of doing that instead of like Netflix has done with like releasing stuff all at once, like a whole season at one time.
Right. I like that, actually. Yeah, I agree. Build some anticipation.
Right, when you have to wait at least a little bit.
Right.
Is there anything else in particular that we need to address without spoiling too much?
I thought there was some cool little references here and there that I did catch. I probably could watch it again and catch more, but...
Apparently Obi-Wan can get away with stealing meat or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, whatever. But that was that one of those, like, what do they call them, a crate dragon or something? Is that like that the Mandalorian helped kill in the second season of Mandalorian? Remember that giant dragon? That's kind of what it looked like. Sand dragon, whatever they called it. I thought that was another kind of callback to something you'd seen before.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool too to see that moment whenever she reveals that Anakin's still alive, and then he finds out.
The look on his face, yeah. That was a good
moment.
That was a good moment, yeah.
And the fact that he got brought back into it, which I don't know, I was thinking about this. He got brought back into it by Bail Organa, like he got brought back in to save Leia.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense, but I guess she needs to know who he is to some degree.
Right.
So for that story about, you served with my father in the Clone Wars, but I mean, she just mentions the Clone Wars, so it makes me think like she didn't know anything about him except for that, but apparently now she knows more than that, so I don't know.
But, right, she knew who Obi-Wan was, but yeah, she did mostly just mention that, because maybe they're going to release another special edition where it's like, you served my father in the Clone Wars, and yes, there was that one time we escaped from whatever that planet was.
It's one time you rescued me.
That one time you rescued me 10 years ago. I don't know, maybe they'll throw that in there. That would be a George Lucas thing. He would he would throw that in there.
Yeah.
And wasn't there also a reference to Rise of Skywalker where the lightsabers were buried in the desert kind of thing?
Perhaps. Yeah.
That was cool to see him dig out the lightsabers, Anakin's and his lightsaber. That was pretty cool. And so I guess that's a thing.
He's going to bury it again? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
At some point, until he gets his own little house or whatever, that he can put it in a trunk, and apparently it's okay after that point.
So here's the other line of the original Star Wars that I was always like, doesn't make sense anymore after the prequels was your father, Obi-Wan saying your father always wanted you to have this, but your uncle wouldn't allow it. So it's like, so during their duel, is he going to be like, you should give that to my son?
No, this kind of goes, I can actually explain this one. That kind of goes along with the same thing as, him telling him that his father was murdered by Darth Vader. It kind of goes along that. He knows.
So he just lied like crazy to Luke. Like,
yes, he pretty much, lying is okay in the Jedi world, pretty much.
Boy.
So, as long as it has a good purpose.
I guess, because he lied a lot to Luke.
Yeah. He didn't tell her that he had a sister, lied about the lightsaber, lied about him being his father, everything.
And then his excuse was, well, it's all about your point of view, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whatever.
So what I told you was true.
From a certain point of view. Yeah, I was with Luke on that one. A certain point of view. I ain't buying it all, man.
That's the way he kind of answered it, wasn't it?
A certain point of view.
It's like, Luke, you will find that many of the truths we cling to depend on our own point of view.
So is that the George Costanza way of if you believe it, it's true?
Like, I allowed you to go off and fight your father without telling you he was your father.
And I just made up all this stuff about him wanting you to have the lightsaber because I actually thought he was dead. So I just stole it from him.
Not only that, basically, they almost admit, like, saying, we didn't want to tell you that was your father because we wanted you to kill him.
Oh, yeah, basically.
Then we'll tell you it's your father.
Right.
You just killed your father. What?
Exactly. Why didn't you tell me? Ben? Yeah, kind of, the original trilogy kind of makes Obi-Wan look like a douche. Like, why would he do that to... why would he do that to Luke? He just toyed with him. Like, maybe there was a reason? I don't know.
Then again, he did watch over him for his entire life.
I guess so. Oh, that was another reference. The T-16 toy model that Luke was playing with in New Hope. Thought that was a nice little reference that came from Obi-Wan. Even though, as of right now, Uncle Owen threw it back at him. But anyway. That was a good reference. All right, we've talked way too much about this.
Yeah, we need to move out of that. We've almost spent half the show just talking about Obi-Wan.
Basically.
So real quick, just going back to when Guardians last week, when we talked about this, Guardians had just opened or was opening that weekend for, something other than previews, right? So the virtual queue, of course, reached capacity in just seconds after opening, which is still kind of the trend.
Yep. It's going to happen.
Yeah. That's just how it goes. People are always going to get the free option first anyway.
Yep.
That first day, the virtual queue, the lightning lanes that are currently priced at $17 per person did last a little longer on that opening day. It lasted a whole 20 minutes approximately.
Right. Which was apparently a Memorial Day special because now the prices dropped to $14.
Yeah. So, plus I think that was to also maybe try to curb some of the, do I really want to pay for doing this or pay $17 or wait for 1 p.m.?
I guess, but they knew it was going to sell out. I mean, they knew that. That's why they overcharged the lightning lane for the Memorial Day weekend. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, and the 1 p.m. one, by the way, also went out instantly. So
yes, of course. Nickel and diming. Obviously, I think the plan would be try to get the virtual queue. If you don't make it at the 7 a.m., you could buy it or you could hope for the 1 p.m. if you don't want to buy it. And, so you have options throughout the day at least.
Yeah, at least there's that. I mean, it's not going to be as hard as Rise was originally, because I've seen the Lightning Lane for purchase. If you just want to make sure you get in no matter what the time, you should be able to to buy a Lightning Lane. I mean, it should be. There's going to be more availability there.
Right. It seems like if you don't get the Lightning Lane, you'll have plenty of time to get at least a purchase Lightning Lane for it at some point.
And also with Guardians, apparently motion sickness bags are now being distributed.
I've heard about 50-50. Like some people get sick, some people don't feel sick. I think it depends on...
I wonder what it is, though, that's causing that.
What I heard Rhino describe it is there's several objects that you tend to look at that you'll turn your head towards, like the planets and if you turn your head to look at it as you're going through a helix... It's similar to the goat trick on...
But the goat trick doesn't make you barf. I mean,
well, it can, like the last time I did it, I did not feel good for a good hour after that because I kind of got a weird... So I feel like I'm too old now to do the goat trick at Big Thunder. Disneyland's is really the only one you can actually do it at, but you can... Because there's a goat that you can stare at. But anyway... My point is, if you're looking off to the side while you're in a helix or when you're just turning, that's where people get sick.
It's funny you should mention that about as you're getting older, you felt like that was part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, in a lot of theme parks, rides for little kids involve a lot of spinning, right?
Right.
I can't remember where we were. I can't remember if it was while we were at Sesame Place or what, but there were so many ones that just went round and around, even if it wasn't very fast at all. But when we started going on so many back-to-back, I was like, ugh, I don't know if I can take this. I mean, I hate stuff that goes around in circles now.
Yeah. That's how it is. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. The thing is, I can stand the teacups. I don't know. I don't get it.
The last time I did teacups, we rode it with a 12-year-old, and she spun the heck out of us because she thought it was hilarious, and I literally thought I was going to barf. I was like, I had to sit down for a good 20 minutes before I stopped feeling the, motion sickness, so...
Just imagine if booze was more widely available at Magic Kingdom. I mean...
I don't know that would help, but... yeah, that was rough. I mean, but she spun that thing, so much. I wouldn't have spun... If I just... the challenge way is to not spin at all, I'd be perfectly fine with, just kind of going back and forth, whatever. That's nothing.
Yeah. So anyway, prior to this, the only other attraction that I know of that ended up having motion sickness bags was Mission Space.
Right. They still do.
They have barf bags. They do, but they were the first to start it. That's what I meant.
Right.
For obvious reasons.
There's not another one that does it, right? I don't think so.
I don't know of another one.
Yeah, I don't either.
So the only rides that have barf bags are pretty much right next to each other almost.
Yeah.
Separated by... I don't know what you want to call it now.
Yeah.
Whatever it's going to be. The Play Pavilion.
Right. My plan for Guardians is to not look off to the side when I'm doing a turn, although it's dark, so you can't really tell when you're doing a turn.
Just look straight ahead?
Right. I think that's why people get motion sick is because they don't really know when they're going to turn, and so they turn to the side and look, and then they're spinning, and so, yeah.
Well, you heard James talk about his first ride on Mission Space.
Yes. Looking around.
I started to say Mission Space Orange, but at the time we first went on it, there was no orange and green. There was only orange. That's what it was.
There was only the intense version, yeah.
Right. Which, by the way, one thing I looked at for our upcoming trip is everybody in my party is eligible for the green side now. So.
Oh yeah. So
it's only 40.
Yeah. You can get that little booster seat or whatever to go in there.
Oh, is that what they do?
Yeah. Okay. My 4-year-old still needs it. It's like a little booster thing that goes on their seat, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they can be high enough to see the screen or whatever, yeah. He still can't reach a lot of the buttons, though.
Which, by the way, since we were still talking about Guardians somewhat, Disney World Resort Hotel guests get early sale window. So the early sellout before park opening means that those guests not staying at a Disney hotel have no option to purchase Lightning Lane access. I always get confused on which one's which. So apparently the 7 a.m. individual Lightning Lane is only for
resort guests.
That's what it's indicating.
That's why.
See, I thought that was for everybody, though.
So, right, it's the other way around, meaning the Genie Plus, you can get at 7 a.m. regardless of you're on property or not. But it's the individuals, you have to be a resort guest to get the 7 a.m. one.
So that probably throws a wrench in James's plans, truthfully.
Well, that's what he said last week, was the reason why they're going to go for the virtual queues because they're not on property.
Right, so that was what he was saying. That was the only option he had. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, okay, we were saying it right all along and just didn't realize it.
So I have a room at the All-Stars book, so I should be able to get a Lightning Lane purchase.
Okay. On Monday, May the 30th, right?
Yeah.
That was the very first time that the extended evening hours virtual queue went into effect.
The 6 p.m. one?
Yeah, the 6 p.m. one. And that's for deluxe guests only. Apparently, there were a lot of people staying at a deluxe resort because those boarding groups were gone almost instantly as well.
Sounds about right.
So, yeah, I don't know how many they reserved for that party, though. So maybe they reserved fewer ones. I don't know. I don't know why you would even bother putting a limit on it, truthfully. Because the evening magic hours, surely especially since it's among just deluxe guests, can't be that big, could it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So it does say here on extended evening hours, eligible guests can use the virtual queue twice, once during the 7 a.m. or 1 p.m. distribution, and again at the 6 p.m. distribution. So in addition to purchasing a Lightning Lane, that would allow for a maximum of 3 Cosmic Rewind rides in a day if you were staying at a deluxe hotel. Although from what I've heard, I don't know why you would want to ride it 3 times. I think one's enough.
Well, I guess only to get the different soundtrack maybe, but yeah, you may not want to stomach it.
Yeah, that's the rewritability factor. I just don't think that I would want to pay that kind of money for it.
In the same day, too.
Like, yeah. So
enjoy it over mini trips, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this article I came across. It actually came from mickeyblog.com, not Blog Mickey, so it's a little different.
Right.
Not to be confused.
The only difference between the two is the number of ads on every page.
Pretty much.
Sorry.
But the reason why I was going to bring this up is they brought up a decent point, and they were showing how the crowd levels were for Memorial Day in comparison to what you would think, or even in the past, right? Mm-hmm. And I have brought this up before, and these pictures do show some pretty empty streets at areas, especially in comparison to what we've seen as of recent. But it kind of puts into play, I guess, that theory that I had talked about before, with park reservations, there being absolutely no penalty whatsoever for not showing up for one, right? There's probably a number of people who reserved Memorial Day in particular, not knowing whether or not they would go, just thinking if they got it, they had to keep it because they figured it would be a busy day and everybody would want to get a reservation.
Yeah.
When it all was said and done, it appears that a significant number of people that took reservations didn't go, or else they wouldn't have had those results. I mean, what do you think?
I'm curious. I wonder what touring plans said the actual crowd was that day. I probably missed it.
Yeah, I never did look back because you usually only see that the next day.
Right. So, yeah, I can see that probably ahead of time a lot of people would just book because they're like, oh, this is going to sell out, so let me grab a Magic Kingdom in case I want to go for Memorial Day or whatever. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
But that's the part about this system that ticks me off, is there's people that couldn't get it because it was reserved and these people didn't show up. Yeah. Right.
And you don't know until day of whether these people are going to show up or not who book one.
Pretty much. And I didn't see, I mean, I could have been wrong, I didn't see where they showed availability opening up like later in the day. I'm sure it probably did, but I don't know how they determined that either.
Yeah. Now, I've seen a few people say that live in the area say that they haven't been able to get a Magic Kingdom for a couple of days this week. You know, it's showing is sold out, even though it may not necessarily be, but they aren't able to get one.
Right.
So, something's going on.
Yeah. It needs to be tweaked or it needs to be gone.
100% agree. I've never been a fan, and I really hate the lack of flexibility with not being able to park up until 2 or 1:47 p.m.
Yeah, because the real question is, why is this still happening at this point?
Yeah. I mean, if cruises are going to start not needing you to be tested if you're fully vaccinated, then, they're loosening up their restrictions, and why can't we get rid of this stupid reservation system? I don't know. Tomorrow is expected only a 7 at Magic Kingdom, 6 total, and then it goes down to there to 5, 5, 5, 4. So you're first. Aren't you coming on the 5th?
My first night at Coronado is on the 5th.
Yeah. So that day shows 4 as the crowd level overall, 4.
Yeah, Sundays have been kind of light. I think a lot of people are traveling one way or the other on that day, but
yeah, makes sense.
I'm not gonna be doing a park day there that day from what we've planned on doing. So, but I currently have mine booked based on like during the days I'm going to be there. I picked which park would be like the lowest, I guess.
Right.
Lowest day. Right now I have Hollywood Studios on Monday, which I think was the lowest crowd level on Monday. Or either that or it was the same as another one, and another one had a lower day. That's basically what I based it on, which may not be the best way to go. I may end up changing this up if I can. So Tuesday I went with Animal Kingdom, Wednesday I went with Magic Kingdom, and Thursday I went with Epcot.
Okay.
And again, based on the projected crowds, which I might change my mind. I feel like if I have the option to change my mind.
Boy, they're showing Epcot as a 4 on that day, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of looking at to see if that would make any difference. So
if that holds up, yeah, it would make sense.
That, and I kind of decided, since Epcot's in that general area, I decided to put my Topolino's dinner that day that I found.
Ooh, so, nice. You got a Topolino, so you can Skyliner over there to dinner.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Nice. So we kind of segued into your trip preview.
Somewhat, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that was no accident, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really have, dining every day or anything like that scheduled. I just picked a few.
Yeah.
As of right now, this one's tentative because I may decide to do something different, but I have a Toledo for the day that we arrive.
Right. Mm-hmm. You
mentioned is Sunday. I have a Mama Melroses because I've kind of always wanted to try that one.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
At Hollywood Studios for that day. I don't have anything on Animal Kingdom Day so far. And then Magic Kingdom Day, I have the Plaza Restaurant because that's another one that I've kind of always wanted to try. And then I just mentioned the Topolino's. So, and of course, Friday, which is the day we leave, guess what I have scheduled for that day?
Kona. Breakfast.
How did you know?
I just guessed. I'm a good guesser.
I guess it's become a tradition.
I feel like it's been a tradition for quite a while for you.
So some of this stuff is tentative.
I mean, our plan is to go down the day before the cruise for a lot of reasons, but one reason is in lieu of flying, because a lot of the flights are being canceled right now just because of staffing issues, it seems, and COVID is still a thing for some of the staff and things. So I think over Memorial Day weekend, Delta alone canceled 9% of their flights or something like that. So to avoid that being a barrier to get to the cruise, we're going to drive down the day before. We're going to try to get a Guardians. We'll see how that works out. And then we're just stay the night at an All-Stars and then drive over the next day so that we're already down there well in advance.
And you're staying at All-Star...
Music.
Yeah. Never been there before, right?
Nope, never been to the All-Stars at all, actually. I haven't even been on the property of the All-Stars.
This is your first venture into anything All-Star.
Right. And according to the website, the rooms have been refurbished, so that was another thing that was like, okay, I'll book this one. The other option was one of the Hiltons we were thinking about, but I was like, All-Stars is cheaper, and the rooms look refurbished. They look like the ones that pop, essentially.
So you're just staying there the one night, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so have you gone through or bothered to go through and try and choose a room? Or
you mean like do a touring plans thing?
Like request one?
Nah, I don't really care. I don't have a preference.
Bother? Yeah. Because, like usually over at Pop, there's a reason for choosing rooms or trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just going to think, I was like, I don't know if there's a particular instrument, I guess, or theme that I would like my building to be, per se, if I were going to stay at music. I haven't really, that's the one that's the one that really the theming is probably the least appealing overall of the three.
Well, we have
But-
a preferred room. I see that. There's a preferred room.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess that was all that's available because I just booked whatever they had.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what that would be, but I guess I can look on touring plans and see.
Well, preferred would probably be whichever one's closest to the lobby. So that would be, I forgot which one that is, what section that is. It's right there behind the main building, because all the values are pretty much laid out the same way, except for, like, if you're thinking Art of Animation, the suite that's the most convenient is obviously the Finding Nemo, which is why they're more expensive. But it's just laid out similar.
Yeah.
And of course, Pop is the preferred, would usually be the 60s.
Yep. Which I've done.
So
Yeah, I actually do prefer the 60s. I think it's the best.
right, well, that's most convenient, right? Closest to everything, depending on where you are.
Yeah, you can't get a close parking space necessarily to your building, but it won't be too bad. And then you're closest to the Skyliner in the main building anyway, so
Right,
that makes sense. So
right. Like the time that we stayed there, we flew, so we didn't have to have a good parking spot.
right.
Anyway, so you've got that. So you don't have a preference there.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously heard early in the show about your vaccine situation.
Thankfully that.
As far as you know, do you have anything booked special on board? Did you try to do any of that, or you just kind of...
Well, we had a bourbon tasting, but we ended up canceling it. So we're looking to see maybe if we can get something like mixology kind of thing, or maybe something like that on the day at sea. But nothing in particular planned other than... Yeah, actually, that's it. Yeah, nothing else planned yet.
Okay. Now, with the way it's going right now with COVID, do they have you pick a time to arrive at the port, or is it just kind of up to you?
We got 2 p.m. was the earliest time we were able to get when we did the check-in, online check-in. Jason got 1:45, I think.
Okay.
And then we got 2 and... Okay, so it says, please be aware the guests will not be permitted at the terminal or in the parking area before their scheduled arrival time. Guests who arrive early will be asked to return at their scheduled arrival time. Guests arriving after their scheduled time may be delayed and asked to wait behind those arriving at their scheduled time.
Okay, interesting. So they don't want you to come into the port except at your time you selected.
I guess so, but
Sounds
that would
like.
mean we would have to wait, because it says you can wait up to 30 minutes to get your test results. Okay, so COVID-19 embarkation testing. All guests, regardless of age, vaccine status, are required to take a COVID-19 test administered by Inspire Diagnostics at the terminal before boarding. This will be the second of 2 tests required for guests 4 and under. Yep.
So the first one is before you even go.
Right. If you're 4 and under, which I have a 4-year-old, he has to get tested before we even leave. Embarkation testing for guests who are not vaccine eligible because of age 4 and under will continue to be paid for by Disney Cruise Line. Embarkation testing for fully vaccinated guests will be paid for by Disney Cruise Line through June 6th. Okay. Guests with confirmed positive test results, as well as those sharing the same stateroom and other close contacts, will be denied boarding.
So hopefully everything works out there.
Right. So we've got several hurdles to get on the ship. So we'll see. I got through one hurdle with my vaccine card goof up.
Yeah. So is there anything in particular, I guess, that you've heard about or seen that you're looking forward to on your cruise?
The dining. I'm curious about that.
Well, that's always the good thing about cruise line.
The shows. I'm interested to see some of the shows, which I don't know what all will be going on, but I know once we get there, everything will we'll be able to see everything.
Yep.
Maybe a movie, but I'm not that's not one of the things I have to do. I want to do the mini golf because I thought that was cool.
Whenever I let you know about it.
Yeah, I'm I want to do that. Totally. Didn't know that it was there, so that's awesome.
I got to be honest, one of the things we always like to do on our cruises that we've done in the past, of course, some of this was when it was just Lynn and I, or it was just adults, but they do have usually trivia scheduled.
Oh, okay.
So that was always fun, like Disney trivia at different areas. I think on one of Tim Traeger's most recent, his one that he did, he showed some of the times that they did that. Let's see. Things like, they usually have some kind of arts and crafts type thing that you can do, and it's scheduled at certain times. They're usually pretty good. They have those drawing sessions like the animation.
Okay.
They have those sessions.
That's cool.
Like you used to get, unless something's changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can make the difference with Disney versus some of the others is you can have a fun cruise and probably not even step off the ship if you didn't want to, with everything that goes on the ship.
Well, if it's raining on Castaway Cay, we may be stuck on the ship.
So you haven't bought any excursions or anything regarding Castaway Cay, obviously.
No, I thought about...
Not so far.
Right, I thought about the renting a bike thing, but it's the kids... Yeah, we have to decide if we get there. Like, my wife and I might do it, but the kids aren't, like, independent enough to where I would trust them to do it.
Yeah.
I assume they have kid bikes,
Gotcha.
but, you know, they're not quite there where I would want them to, like, skin their legs up on Castaway Cay. So, thought about that. Snorkeling, I thought about doing. I thought about, because can't you go find the Nautilus? I thought about going to find the Nautilus out there. I thought that would be cool.
That's over in the family beach area. It's that type snorkeling. But yes, that's over there.
I thought about doing that. Of course, I'm looking forward to all the food on the island and on the ship. So,
well, on the island, it's essentially a barbecue.
Makes sense.
But it's decent. Yeah, it's decent. I mean, everything's good quality, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not. You're going to find a little different quality on the island, like I said, them doing a barbecue versus the stuff that you're going to get on the ship on a regular basis. But yeah,
I'm looking forward to having, you know, the kids enjoy the kids club, and then us being able to like walk around without wrangling kids for a while. That'd be fun.
I will say this: I would recommend at least doing one top point in time doing the midship detective agency.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jason's done it or not. On the Dream, unless they've changed something, you don't have the option of the Muppet one, which is the best one.
Oh, I would want to do that one.
I think that's only on the Fantasy.
Okay.
But if you do it on the Dream, you have the choice to choose the Mickey one, which is it would still be, you get the concept. It would still be fun to do.
Yeah.
But the Muppet one is definitely more fun, and I think it's only on the Fantasy, or at least it was last time I checked. So.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to have to check out the Aqueduct.
Yes, of course.
While you're there.
They are doing the sail away party or whatever they call it again.
Mm-hmm.
Castaway party. What do they call it?
Yeah, it's a sail away party. Yeah.
So I imagine we'd want to check that out and stuff, things like that. And of course, character meetings. I'd love to do that too.
Yeah, those are usually more intimate on the ship. Just because you don't have to wait in quite as long a lines typically.
Right. Yeah, so I'd look forward to as well.
Yeah, and you have usually an interesting selection of characters. They tell you where they're going to be.
Yeah.
On the Navigator.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
The ship's Navigator.
I saw that you could bring on board one, either 6-pack, I think it is, of beer, or bottle of wine per adult over 21. So I thought about bringing some Wild Leap on board.
Oh, there you go.
And enjoying one for on Castaway Cay. Thought that would be fun to put on Instagram for them.
Yeah, I don't know what they keep on hand other than the usual stuff.
Yeah, I think it's some okay stuff, and I think we plan to get a cooler as well, one of those, which obviously you like, once you've done a few, they give you something like that, right? We have to like, our first one, I don't think we're going to get anything, but
I don't know.
I think we'll have to buy our cooler, but.
Oh, you're talking about on your first sailing. Gosh, what did they do for us on the first sailing? I don't remember.
I don't even know if they give you.
I know they gave us a gift the second time, and of course the third and the fourth, and something different. I'm sure would be for the fifth.
Should I bring a lanyard? By the way, do I need to bring a lanyard? Someone was saying you should bring your own lanyard.
I would recommend it. No, just something to put like your ID and stuff in.
Oh, okay. Your
That's
actual ID.
Yeah, that's what I would use.
In case you get carded for like drinks or something?
Well, I would use your ID, and you have your onboard card, your key to the world, or whatever you want to call it. They call it something similar to that.
So you can leave all the other stuff in the room, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because really, when you get off the ship, most cruise lines you're gonna have to show your ID and stuff to get back on. Really, they're scanning your card. It's what everything that's pertaining to you is on that key card. So that's what they're going to scan when you get back on. So, I mean, as long as you have that, you're probably going to be okay.
That's why
Unless,
you keep
of course,
that. Okay, I got you.
You might want to carry something like your ID or something off if you're going to, say, Nassau or something like that. and doing something.
Yeah.
Which, does yours include Nassau?
Just Castaway Cay.
See, so you don't have to worry about that. You're on the Disney's private island, even though you might want to carry maybe some cash or something. That's one thing that anytime I've gone on a cruise that I have trouble getting used to is I start feeling naked without like having my wallet and stuff carrying with me, because I never carry any of that stuff with me anywhere when I'm on the cruise. There's no need for it.
Right. I felt that way at Aulani too, because you go to the pool, you have your swim stuff, you don't want to leave your wallet out by your chair or whatever, so all we did was take like our room key and like a credit card and whatever.
You basically just take your key to the world card with you everywhere, because that's how you pay for stuff while you're there anyway. You charge it to your stateroom.
Speaking of, they sold us these little waterproof pouches that you could put your stuff in. I need to find that and see if I can bring that on the cruise. Yeah. Okay.
You know, a lot of people bring these waterproof things for their phone nowadays and just to have that with them.
Right.
I've seen people having these little waterproof cases for their phone, or with these pouches or whatever they are.
Should have done that.
Yeah.
Do that either. Still have time to go to Target real quick.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, I would say for that, I mean, they give you the lanyard thing eventually as one of your cruises if you go multiple times, but you don't get it the first time, or at least you didn't when I did it.
Yeah.
So we actually ended up getting some sort of they gave us like a cake, it seemed like, the first time.
Oh, really?
Which was kind of odd. Yeah.
Okay.
They gave us some sort of cake in our stateroom.
Interesting. Well,
and I didn't order it. I mean, there's stuff you can order to have in your stateroom, but I didn't order it. I mean, I don't know if that's just something they did back then or what.
Did it have the wrong name on it, and they just sent it to the wrong room? I have no idea.
No, I don't think so. I mean, no one ever said anything. So,
well, I'll report back next week or whenever we get back from our travels over the next week or two. We've got a couple of big trip reports.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to think if there's something else I was going to recommend for the cruise.
Okay.
Right off the top of my head.
Someone told me bring your own cup for the soda fountains rather than.
I guess you could. Yeah, I guess you could, but I mean, it's all. I guess that way you can put more in it, maybe, than.
Right. Because
everything that's non-alcohol is already included as far as drinks go.
Exactly.
And even as far as cruise ships go, believe it or not, this is surprising. Disney is actually more reasonable than most with their alcohol packages.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. That's what I've heard.
Interestingly enough. Of course, there's like a coffee place where it's going to cost you a little extra. There's an ice cream shop that I would recommend doing, which is Vanellope's, which it's an extra charge, but I would still recommend it. But however, one of the things, there's a station that's called Ice Cream. It has Mike Wazowski.
Right.
Get it?
Yes, Ice Cream. I got it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can go there and get ice cream
for free, right? Yeah,
included. Yeah, it's included anytime you want to. You know,
nice.
Or the areas that are set up for food, as long as they're open. You know, they're themed to the Cars characters. Yeah. Like there was a spot for Mater's Grill and then Luigi's, and then I forgot the other one that was there right now off the top of my head. But yeah, you had like 3 different windows that you could get different types of food from. Luigi's Pizza is the one that's probably going to be open the latest, more so than the other ones. So you could always have the option of getting pizza. The other one was, I forgot the name of it, Flo's, I think, maybe. Flo's Cafe? No, or am I getting that confused with the one in Disneyland? I think it's still themed to Flo. But anyway, hers was the more healthier options over there. But yeah, I mean, splash pad area is fun for kids. Okay. I mean, yeah, you got a pool where everybody, mostly hangs out. Other than there's one also on the adult end, but you probably won't have any need of that unless the kids are maybe at the Oceaneers Club or what have you at the time.
Right. Hope they will be there a lot. We'll see.
Yeah, the forward of the ship on the upper decks are the adult area. And they have these hot tubs that are like right up against the windows in those areas usually, that are also like glass bottoms that you can look through to the bottom.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So, yeah, good stuff.
Okay.
All right, so I guess that kind of gives the preview and wraps everything up for Traveling with the Mouse this week. So if you would like to find out more, you can go to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That is all at TWTM Podcast. Those are our social media outlets. We also have a YouTube channel as a member of our social media outlets. And we have a Spreadshirt store in which you can buy our exclusive TWTM merchandise. That is shop.spreadshirt.com/TWTM podcast.
And you can visit our website, which is travelingwiththemouse.com. And you can also email us, podcast@travelingwiththemouse.com. And if you want to book your own Disney cruise line or Disney World vacation and you want some guidance or help there, use our travel agent friend. Her name is Jill Dilbeck. Her email address is jilldilbeck@gmail.com.
So for Adam, this is John, and this has been Traveling with the Mouse, and we hope you will join us on our next trip. Which apparently is all this month.
Yeah.
All next week. And
this whole month, really.
The whole couple of weeks.
Between all four of us, it's like the whole month.